Hello and welcome to the Vid-Ography podcast, episode 7 catch up. Hello, my name is Matt. I'm getting more confident, first of all, doing these solo podcasts on my own because I'm now getting used to doing it more. I'm so very sorry that I was ill the last couple of days. I've not been feeling very well, but I don't want you to go into detail about that. Firstly, let's get down to business. Arrow, Flash, Batwoman, Black Lightning, and Supergirl are all bringing the A game in the Arrowverse. Yes, I say A game. Yes. Sorry if my pronunciation's a bit off at the minute. It's the morning here, and I'm just trying to get all my wording correct. Sorry, it's just when I don't use a script or anything, and I'm trying to go off my memory. It's just I use visually my eyes for this and my memory itself. So I'm trying to describe every single wording that I'm doing. So please forgive me if you think that I should be scripted, but I personally do not believe in any of that. I just believe in good old fashioned podcasting of the mind, because otherwise then it just doesn't become as realistic, if you know what I mean. But hey ho, here we go. So I should just say, all of them brought their A game. Each episode, each weekly, is getting stronger. Batwoman episode 2 was much better than the pilot because it's now getting a chance for room to develop. Arrow and Flash perfectly mirrored each other this week with what was going on, and that was stunning. Supergirl is getting more WTF, same as Black Lightning. I feel all of these shows are bringing the next level because we're getting ready for one of the biggest events that happened in the comics coming to TV. You can say for sakes that the only reason they probably left Legends out of it is because they don't want them to mess up with the timeline. That's probably why they're not airing them until February, because when Legends get involved, really, it normally affects the timeline, and given how things are going, the timeline is all out of whack at the minute. Um, Personally, I think it's stunning the way everything's going this season. All the characters have really developed and come a long way from the established ones. Batwoman, though she was established in Elseworlds, it's nice to see the origins and the run up for her. And now we're going to be seeing a lot more brought to the table, I feel, this series, because when she ends, she's coming straight into Crisis when this first half ends, and then she's going to pick up straight after Crisis, same as these are. Now, the sad thing is, as we all know, Arrow is heading for the end, but there has been loads of talk that it will survive on with the two spin offs, one about the Canaries and one about being set in the future with Mia, William, and everyone that's been involved. Sorry, I can't think of the names right now, but it's just because I'm purely running off of memory power, as I say. So I feel that this is going to be quite exciting, but the dynamic's going to change so much. I know it's still the Arrowverse and everything, but it just makes you wonder what's going to happen after Crisis. How long can these series run for? Only time will tell, because Grant Gustin has stated by the time it comes to his 7th season, I think he wants to be out with an 8th season, purely because Stephen Amell left with 8 seasons. I know I'm saying that instead of series, but that's how it's dubbed in America with the season. So, personally, I feel Grant's going to hang on for 2 more, and then he's going to also bow out because he feels that he's done all that he can. Personally, I feel Flash will continue, but not with him. I feel they won't just end it. I could be completely wrong. This is speculation, and it's 2 more seasons away. But I get the feeling they'll just end it with Barry leaving, and then Wally West will pick up as the Flash. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I'm just trying to think of how they could do it now that the whole Crisis has changed the timeline from 2024 of him vanishing to 2019. But we'll see. But again, all the episodes, are finding more as this crisis is going, the Flash and Arrow are completely affected by it. Um, well, the funny thing is, Supergirl should be affected given what happened at the end of last season with John Jones' brother coming in because the Monitor brought in. It just makes you wonder what part of his plan does that involve. But Batwoman is the most interesting because she's the newbie. Um, so it makes you wonder if she's gonna have any ties into Crisis or no on the run. I'm guessing no because her start is set before the Crisis. The only one I'm concerned about a bit is Black Lightning because though he's just been announced to connect to the Arrowverse, will he get a little bit of Crisis teasers or not really? Because up until this year, they've never really connected him to the Arrowverse. So we'll have to wait and see unless they're holding it back as a surprise. He might end off his season and halt it with him joining the Crisis. But hey ho. What else? So there's been lots of talk that the rise of Skywalker will feature music from the past, like a hint of Yoda's theme, a hint of the Emperor's, and a hint of Duel of the Fates, which is the famous do 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 do. One of my favorite pieces of Star Wars music, maybe returning for the next film, and I'm quite excited for that. Um, I honestly feel that we're in such a great position with Star Wars. I know it's been a rough and bumpy ride with people since the last July, but just go in open minded. If you don't like the Rise of Skywalker, then that's your fair opinion. Like, some people hate the prequels, some people actually hate the originals, and some people hate this new franchise. But do you know what? You've just got to come in with an open mind. I do not speak for everyone's views, but I can speak for my view and say I love the originals, I love the prequels, and I love this sequel trilogy because they are interesting, they're part of wonderful worlds, and they're so entertaining that I can't get enough of them. I tell you what, also makes me quite happy is that Disney is actually creating more content for it. Like with Marvel, they're making the final series of the Clone Wars. We have Resistance heading into its final season because it's officially tied into The Last Jedi. So they've been sneaky and they've done a bit of a time jump. Also, what else was there? So we've had also, yes, we have Rogue One spin-off, Cassian. We have Mandalorian, which is set after Return of the Jedi. We have Kenobi, which is set before, I'm guessing before Cassian, Rogue One, and A New Hope now, because that's around that time. Oh, and also Rebels, because it's around. Again, we have loads of material to keep us going for Star Wars for many years to come, especially with the new trilogy. Well, and that's the interesting part, is the trilogy is now going from it's possible it's happening to it will happen when it happens. So Rian Johnson doesn't even know anymore when the next three are coming out, which is a bit concerning given the fact that they've contracted him for the next three movies and they don't know what's happening. Personally, what I would say on that is because of the backlash of The Last Jedi, I think they're waiting to see how The Rise of Skywalker does before they decide to move forward with the films. Because unfortunately, Solo, I still feel to this day Solo would have worked better if it stayed on track for Christmas. Though it alienated a lot of people by going into the date it was released. It should have stuck at Christmas because then it would have hyped it up even more. They could have had more chances to finish with the fixing. Personally, I felt it was alright the way it ended. I mean, don't get me wrong, the comedy made it funny in the first half, but when it got to the series and the dark tone and Darth Maul had appeared, I thought that was incredible to see. Oh, yes, 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 I meant to include that as part of the time. See, there's so much you can do with this timeline now, but it just worried. But it is just worrying, yes. Sorry. Sometimes if I'm trying to think, I have a bit of a pause break when I'm in the middle of the sentence, so it doesn't sound as right. Again, there's so much worlds to play with, so much in the sandbox of Star Wars at the minute that you can enjoy it. And I feel we personally are heading for a wonderful time. And, you know, it's just gotten to the point now where you can just go and enjoy the films. You can look back on them as a whole. I love trying to connect the worlds together because that's the beautiful part of them. They've been all been now designed for you to follow them. And if people want to know about General Grievous, how he doesn't remember Obi-Wan, you could perfectly explain that he's had a memory wipe because it was nearing the end of the Clone Wars, and they didn't want him to tell all if he got captured because it was near at the end. So that's probably why you can explain why in the Clone Wars show him and Kenobi can fight all the time, and yet he doesn't remember who he is until that meeting in Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, you could explain that. I mean, it didn't explain that in the Clone Wars final series. Well, fair enough. It's just that's how I would view how Grievous could not remember Kenobi. Um, Also, to go back on American Horror Story, I was going to cover that at the start, but here we are. So that whoa, American Horror Story is just getting more twisted upon twisted each episode for the season. I'm stunned, intrigued, confused, and woed at the same. It's a small cast of people, but it's just incredible to watch. Where I'm not going to give it away if you've not seen it, but let's just say you go from point A to point B to point C to point D to point whoa, whoa, whoa. It like throws so many surprises, so many wow factors that you just keep getting mesmerized by this season. I've loved every minute of this series. I mean, I never was a horror fan really. Nightmare on Elm Street was my only pure horror desire, and now I'm branching into more of it, like Rob Zombie stuff, um, who I've started more watching. I'm still tempted to go back and watch more Jason films because the last Jason film I watched was Freddy versus Jason, and I have seen the original Friday the 13th, don't worry, but it's just sitting down and making time for things. But yes, I have seen the new Chucky film because I'm a fan of the originals. Don't get me wrong, I can see why people had gripes with it, but Mark Hamill was one of the best versions to succeed Brad Dourif for it, because I don't think Dourif's voice would quite work with this iteration they were going for. So Mark Hamill's worked a bit better for this iteration. Just me that yes, anyway, I have to say I've not seen that much twists since Sherlock, the TV series that was commissioned on the BBC. That's what I feel with all these twists and surprises of American Horror Story. It's really worth a watch if you've not seen the show itself, because each season now they're trying to always do something to connect it. Personally, this series has got a season 1 and season 5 vibe to me, but yes, again, I've said seasons instead of series, but that is where the show has been made. If it was made in England, I would call it series, but hey ho, I just feel it's incredible, and hats off to Ryan Murphy for making each season the most unique and different from the last. It must take a lot in someone's mind to try to keep redefining a horror genre and keep making it so fresh, so fun. Because American Horror Story can be dark and twisted, and it can be comedic and light-hearted and fun. And I never thought I'd get out of horror at all. The last dark, comedic, and light horror I've seen is Nightmare on Elm Street, as I say, and Chucky. If you know any more comedic horror, please let me. What else? So yeah, I mean we've got loads more set photos coming out for Crisis. I've already covered today on a podcast with Matrix Sword 212, who we only had a brief little podcast today. and to me, we've already covered Doctor Who a bit again. See, there's not really much coming out for Doctor Who, apart from the new scarf that has just come out. They're not really tackling the Funko Pops as much, and they're not really tackling quite a bit. I think the merchandise is a bit of a 50-50 at the minute, where it will get a good traffic flow, don't get me wrong, but for certain products, I think that's why the Funkos are keep being made, but they still haven't delved into the things like Martha Jones, Donna Noble, Joe Grant, Tegan Travanko, as I say. But we'll probably get those at some point. Um, I'm planning to finally see this week. I know I've talked about it quite a bit, but finally, this Friday, I'll finally see the Clown Prince of Crime himself, the Joker. Yes, the movie, not any actors. I mean, the movie. I want to see the Walking Phoenix movie for myself. I cannot wait to see it as a fan of the Clown Prince, but I'm going in open minded because while everyone's calling it a 5-star movie, to me, you always have to judge things with your eyes and your own perspective. So you can't really go on other people's opinions. I've been hearing from people how wonderful, how fantastic it is, but I want to see it with my own eyes to see if it's worth the hype or not, because I don't want to be part of the HT, the hype train. So there you go. So later today, I've got RuPaul to watch because that's always a pleasure to watch. The show is incredible. It's fantastic. I always think it's quite funny, and there's something special about that show. The UK edition is really up in the bar in the filthiness, but my only downside is that I mean, last week's lip sync was better, but it's still not quite as the American one. It's not quite as the dancing's not up in the comedy. It's not. It's not really feeling like the proper lip syncs. It's just feeling like people are doing it for the sake of it rather than going all out. But hey ho, I digress. Um, well, this has been a bit of my catch up. I've tried to do things on a day by day basis. So if I see something in a different podcast and it hasn't happened, it doesn't mean it won't happen. It just means I've got to sit down and think about them more. Because reviews for me are quite more tricky and challenging sometimes. So please forgive me if I say I'm going to do things and I haven't done. It's because my life is getting in the way a bit, my health like this, because I'm on a diet at the minute, so that's also kind of affecting the way that I am. But anyway, by the time I've uploaded this and after you've heard this, I'm probably be getting ready for the day because I have an appointment this afternoon. So as I say, I may. That's why I never say I'm going to. I always say I may. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. So I may do an episode again later this afternoon. If not, well, that's why I always say I may. So if I don't, I don't. I'm not really trying to do this really for ratings. I'm trying to do this podcasting as like a documentation of like reviews and thoughts and everything. Because to me, life is quite short, and you've always got to have your own voice in the world. And whether the world is negative and dark, you've always got to find a shining light in it. But anyway, I'll be hopefully doing episode 8 either today or sooner. Okay, so Friday, as I say, I'm going off to Joker, so I won't be able to sit down and watch both the Rocky Horror films to do my rewatch for a review for the weekend. So I might do Saturday, I might watch them both and then do the review later in the afternoon. But Again, it's all play by ear. I could do Sunday as well because I want to do cult reviews. I want to do what's in, what's older so newer people can come and find it. Okay, well, I'll speak soon. And as I say to my friends, may the force be with you. Bye bye.